Business owners along Lake Cumberland are gearing up for what they hope will be a very profitable summer tourism and recreation season. And we'll take you to Food Truck Friday in Pikeville.
And down here in Pineville, the Kentucky Mountain Laurel Festival has seen its great second day, and the best is yet to come. Details on a pretty nice evening on the way coming up as First at 4 continues.
Mountain News First at 4 continues.
It is the start of the summer boating season, and for one business near Lake Cumberland, a fire could not have come at a worse time. But the operation is back open just in time for the holiday weekend. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more from Pulaski County.
Lake Cumberland is going to be very busy this weekend. There's going to be lots of boats out here from now really into the end of the summer around Labor Day weekend, and a business that really depends on those boats for their livelihood was down and almost out. That's Idle Time Marina in Bronson. They were devastated by fire back on May 6th, so that's just weeks before the start of their busiest time of the year. Fire swept through the garage, destroyed several customers' boats, and left them with a lot of questions on how they were going to recover. But weeks later, just in time for this weekend, they were able to find a new location and keep the business going.
But once we found a location, we kind of put our nose to the grindstone, and we've been going every day for the last 2 weeks, staying late, trying to get things set up.
This story is actually very similar to what happened to another business on Lake Cumberland that was devastated by fire just before Memorial Day weekend. That's Conley Bottom Marina. You might remember back in 2019, just really days before the start of the weekend, fire destroyed their office, their restaurant, and their store. And 4 years later, I'm told they are still recovering. We hope to have more about them a little bit later on today. But for now, in Pulaski County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Phil, thank you. No one was hurt in the fire in Pulaski County, and managers say the cause was blamed on a faulty outlet. The city of Pikeville is celebrating summer with some snacks, kicking off its first Food Truck Friday of the season. The city works with food truck vendors to fill the parking lot of the Appalachian Wireless Arena with their festival-like flavors, from salty to sweet and everything in between. The lines formed early today, with people taking their lunch breaks to grab a special treat, saying it's a nice way to end the work week.
This is great to just bring everything to the community, so that way where I'm still at work, so we can come down here on our lunch break to get these awesome treats.
Those involved say the food trucks are a nice complement to the local businesses. Also, they tie in well with whatever dinner plans you have, since the trucks are open late. Looks good.
Joining you once again from the Kentucky Mountain Laurel Festival here in downtown Pineville. The music has started on the stage behind us here at the Kentucky Mountain Laurel Festival. And like we've been talking about, we've seen some clouds over the sun over the last little bit, and I see some dark clouds in the distance. Those are thanks to some showers that are coming in from our east. Yes. Here's a look at First Alert Pinpoint Doppler at this hour. You see all the action is in portions of southern Kentucky. In fact, not far from us, we could see, a matter of fact, a few raindrops in portions of this region here before too long here in Pineville and down just to our south in Middlesboro, and another heavy little shower getting ready to impact places like Jellicoe here over the next little bit. Over the next 6 hours, we'll see those temperatures slowly fall into the 60s as we head through the rest of the evening hours. And as we keep an eye on the weekend, showers look likely as we head through the holiday weekend. We stay below average for now, but we really start feeling that summer heat as we head towards next week. Steve, I'll have the details on when we see those showers really move in earnest in a few minutes.
All right, Evan, thank you. The search for a man wanted on murder, rape, and kidnapping charges ended Wednesday. Agencies across several states were looking for Michael Burham, and he was caught after a South Carolina man found him hiding on his property. Tara Jabour has the details.
So we walked out there.
A backyard check turned into the spotting of a fugitive for the Phillips family. The couple checked the inside of their shed, then after their dog bark, realized someone was behind it.
Seen something that said "and one" on the side. I got to looking, and I was telling her to get back. I was like, hey, Bo. And I started hollering and cussing at him, boy. All I want to do is get my old lady in the house.
Anthony Phillips says Burham was hiding wrapped in a white tarp.
He stood up, he said, I don't want any trouble, and grabbed his shoes. He said, I'm leaving, he grabbed his shoes, took off running. When he took off running, I guess there was a tree limb or something right there, and whenever he went across that tree limb, boom, he fell flat on his face. So it was like.
Phillips and his wife quickly went inside, shocked, but called 911. And within minutes, law enforcement showed up and began searching. They eventually caught Burham a couple hours later. Phillips says he is thankful that him, his wife, and future child were okay.
As long as my old lady and my baby's okay, and my family's all right, I'm not. You do what you want to me. I guess I was like her shield. You got to get through me before you get her.
He says law enforcement's work on the case was something he won't forget.
They're amazing, amazing. Berkeley County, the FBI, all the agents that spoke with us, all the detectives that spoke with everybody that spoke with us, they were, phenomenal, top of their class. They're heroes, folks.
There was a $10,000 reward if someone had information leading to Burham's arrest. It's unclear if the couple will be getting that money. A man paralyzed in a motorbike accident more than a decade ago can now walk again. Researchers in Switzerland developed technology that linked his brain and his spinal cord. Now the man says it works so well that he's had to learn how to walk naturally again. Meg Terrell has that story.
Hertjan Oskam was unable to take a single step after a spinal cord injury left him paralyzed more than a decade ago. But now he can stand up and walk, even over tough terrain, and go upstairs. Technology is turning Oskam's thoughts into actions. Electrodes implanted over his brain collect signals from the region that controls movements. A computer analyzes them to predict how he wants to move, and then messages electrodes implanted in his spinal cord that allow him to make those movements.
I only have to think about the movement, and I can start and stop.
While electrical stimulation has helped other paralyzed patients walk again, they've had to turn on implants that send a continuous signal to their spinal cord. Oskam's success is documented in a new scientific paper in the journal Nature. He was the first participant in a clinical trial for the technology, and researchers are hopeful about future possibilities. He says he can walk about 110 yards depending on the day, a little more than a football field. He can also stand without supporting himself with his hands for a few minutes and is looking forward to gaining even more function. Meg Terrell, CNN, reporting.
The Department of Veterans Affairs wants to raise awareness about a final honor for the nation's veterans. They say burial benefits frequently go unused by veterans, and they want those who served and their families to know of the extent of their options. Karen Kaifa reports from Arlington, Virginia.
Amid the quiet and the solemnity, Arlington National Cemetery is expanding, adding 70 acres to the south of these hallowed grounds, an estimated 80,000 burial sites by late 2027.
The current physical expansion that we're doing right now was the last available land contiguous, in other words, connecting to Arlington National Cemetery. And even to do that expansion, we've had to reconstruct existing roads.
The cemetery, maintained by the U.S. Army but open to veterans of all branches, will be able to accommodate a fraction of the current 23 million active duty service members and veterans.
Without southern expansion, we would close as an active cemetery, which means new burials around 2041. Southern expansion, when complete, will take us to about the mid-2060s.
About 30 miles to the south of Arlington is Quantico National Cemetery. It's one of 155 national cemeteries across the nation maintained by the Department of Veterans Affairs National Cemetery Administration. Matthew Quinn, VA Undersecretary for Memorial Affairs, says the department is working with veterans groups to encourage those who have served to utilize their final benefit.
We are working hard with Arlington National Cemetery and DOD to make sure that there's awareness. So those who maybe are thinking about Arlington, we want to make sure that they know that there's other options as well.
The network also includes 121 state-run cemeteries funded by the VA, and they say about 94% of U.S. veterans have one of these burial sites within 75 miles of home. Still, utilization of VA burial benefits, which include no-cost interment as well as similar benefits for spouses and dependents, is low compared to other VA benefits like health care and education. Last year, just 22%.
That's a number we want to see increase. We want to make sure veterans know that this is an option across America.
So they're working to improve rural access to burial sites and in dense urban areas build above-ground columbariums with a smaller footprint, like this one at Los Angeles National Cemetery. Another will soon open in Queens, New York. All of it a way to say thank you one final time.
The way we look at it is this is the nation's last chance to thank that veteran for their service.
In Arlington, Virginia, I'm Karen Kafa.
Coming up on First at 4, the CEOs of Ford and Tesla reach an agreement to provide EV charging stations.
And the sun is back out here in downtown Pineville, but for how long? The answer to that question after this.